What is the reaction of the northern tribes to Rehoboam's harsh response to them? This is the question we seek to answer today as we continue our verse-by-verse study of the book of 2 Chronicles on Walking Through the Bible. Today we're going to be discussing 2 Chronicles chapter 10, verses 12 to 19. But before we do that, let's read the passage. If you have a Bible with you, turn to 2 Chronicles chapter 10, verse 12. But if you don't have a Bible, don't worry. Just follow along with us on the screen. The version that we'll be reading from is the New King James Version. So 2 Chronicles chapter 10, beginning at verse 12. So Jeroboam and all the people came to Rehoboam on the third day, as the king had directed, saying, "Come back to me the third day." Then the king answered them roughly. King Rehoboam rejected the advice of the elders, and he spoke to them according to the advice of the young men, saying, "My father made your yoke heavy, but I will add to it. My father chastised you with whips, but I will chastise you with scourges." So the king did not listen to the people, for the turn of events was from God, that the Lord might fulfill his word which he had spoken by the hand of Ahijah the Shilonite to Jeroboam the son of Nebat. Now when all Israel saw that the king did not listen to them, the people answered the king, saying, "What share have we in David? We have no inheritance in the son of Jesse. Every man to your tents, O Israel. Now see to your own house, O David." So all Israel departed to their tents, but Rehoboam reigned over the children of Israel who dwelt in the cities of Judah. Then King Rehoboam sent Hadoram, who was in charge of the revenue, but the children of Israel stoned him with stones, and he died. Therefore King Rehoboam mounted his chariot in haste to flee to Jerusalem. So Israel has been in rebellion against the house of David to this day. We have now entered the reign of Rehoboam, son of Solomon, bringing us down in history to about 930 BC. In chapter 12, we're going to find out that Rehoboam isn't an exactly young man when he begins to reign, being 41, but that fact alone doesn't preclude him from acting foolishly. Ascending to the throne, Rehoboam decided to be coronated in Shechem, a city in Ephraim likely intended to quell some of the unrest that undoubtedly had been bubbling in the latter days of Solomon. In Shechem, the northern tribes came to him with an ultimatum: "Lower our taxes, or we will rebel." Rehoboam took counsel on the matter, and the older counselors, the ones who had been at Solomon's advisors, told him to heed the voice of the people for unity's sake, and because taxes had been especially high under Solomon. However, the younger counselors advised the opposite, telling him to raise taxes further. Blinded by ambition and arrogance, traits the Lord knew Rehoboam possessed, Rehoboam heeded the advice of the younger counselors and told the northern tribes such. And their response was just about as you would have expected: utter disgust, which led to rebellion. The declaration they made, "What share have we in David? And we have no inheritance in the son of Jesse," is the same one that was made almost 50 years prior in an event relayed to us in 2 Samuel 20, that being when Sheba tried to stage a mini revolt against David upon David's return from exile. That rebellion, of course, was quelled by Joab, but this one would not be, for the chronicler says that Israel was in rebellion against the house of David to this day. Again, the phrase "unto this day" is not being used by the chronicler to suggest there was a king in Israel at the time of his writing, for we know there wasn't, but as a time reference from the time of the event as recorded in a prior source material, where this means that Israel and Judah had not reunited before the captivity. That the chronicler, as an inspired writer, was using other source material is quite evident from this book, but it doesn't mean that this book isn't inspired, for the inspiration of the Holy Spirit would have led the author to said material, and would have ensured that the material written in the inspired account was accurate. Luke said that he consulted sources in the writing of his gospel, and so when the chronicler clearly does so here, then we can know that this is how the Holy Spirit inspired him in this regard. Regardless, though, the point being made here is that Israel and Judah never did reunite under one king ever again. Instead, the northern tribes made Jeroboam the son of Nebat their king, with Rehoboam ruling over those who dwelt in the cities of Judah. Chapter 11 will make clear that this would also include the tribe of Benjamin, as in this case Benjamin is treated as one unit together with Judah. Now initially, Rehoboam tried to calm down things by sending Adoram in the book of 1 Kings, the man in charge of the revenue, to perhaps explain the situation to the northern tribes, but Adoram was stoned, showing Rehoboam that the northern tribes had no intention of submitting to him. Instead, they will coalesce around Jeroboam and will become their own nation. Unfortunately, none of those kings will be righteous, for all will follow in Jeroboam's sin in first worshiping the golden calves at Dan and Bethel, calves which were supposed to represent Jehovah, and then expanding upon it further by worshiping other gods as well. That is why Israel will be sent off into captivity a full century before Judah will. The chronicler will not cover this history like the author of 1st and 2nd Kings did, so it is useful to keep that in the back of our minds as we study about the kings of Judah for the rest of this book. Rehoboam, though, wasn't going to take Israel's rebellion lying down. He was going to try and fight back. We'll find out how that went, the Lord willing, in the next lesson. With that, our time is up for today. The Lord willing, we hope you'll join us for tomorrow's discussion of 2 Chronicles chapter 11, verses 1 to 12, as we continue our walk through the Bible, one verse at a time.
Thank you for watching today's episode. We hope that you found it edifying and ask that you not only subscribe to our channel and podcast, but that you like and share this episode among your friends, so that the saving gospel of Jesus Christ can go out to the whole world.